Business over drinks. Business over drinks. This is Dave and Terng. This is business over drinks.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Business Over Drinks. My name's Terng and I'm calling in from sunny Singapore.
Hello, Governor. My name's David, and welcome to Business Over Drinks. I'm calling in from Australia. How is
Yeah,
everyone? Hey,
so you
man.
guys might have actually noticed something. We don't do the traditional format anymore where we introduce our drinks and stuff because we've been recording a lot more in the morning and it's not socially acceptable to get absolutely plastered at about 9 10 in the morning.
Yeah, at least we won't show it to you.
Yeah, this is gin. So, no.
It doesn't mean Tony isn't drunk right now. It's
Yeah,
just
no, I'm
we're
just
not
not
revealing it to
showing
you.
it. I'm like, I can't talk about it that much. I've got a business to run, guys. No, but in all honesty, man, there's one thing that's really dominating the headlines right now, at least from a social media standpoint and from the US and in partially Australia standpoint as well, is the current TikTok debacle going on where the US is trying to ban TikTok and they're having a congressional hearing at the moment. And then Australia is also considering banning it as well, right? Over fears of Chinese intrusion and spying. Now, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. So for anyone who hasn't been up to date with it, so basically what's happening is that Meta and the big tech companies are scared of how good TikTok is becoming, and they just can't compete with it, right? So Meta has hired lobbyists, Republican lobbyists, to spread news about how TikTok is like Chinese spy software. And then I think that triggered everything that's what's happening now. So they invited the CEO of TikTok, the US Congress invited the CEO of TikTok to come in, and for 4 to 5 hours, they just drilled him nonstop. And I really recommend that you watch it because it's just so disappointing to see how they treated him. And it was pretty much just an ego session. Did you watch it, Tone?
I watch clips of it, and what I'm gonna do when I have more time is I'm actually gonna try and watch maybe a condensed version, but still a more detailed version than the clips because there's a lot of context to it. And I think what we're seeing based on which platform and watching it, or from which creator or which channel is showing it, we're really seeing a skewed version of it because there's like super pro TikTok stuff happening on TikTok, and then on other platforms you can start to see them like saying Chinese devils chase are taking our
Yeah.
data.
I'm
So
gonna
it's a
guess
bit
it's on
weird.
Meta, right? On Meta's
Yeah.
platforms. I watch it live, and the pro TikTok stuff that I've seen anyway is pretty accurate. So essentially, they just grilled from the very first speeches. They were just saying how they want to shut TikTok down.
Oh
And
yeah,
by
yeah, I saw that.
convenience, you're here, Mr. CEO. We're just going to grill. They didn't really ask him questions. They mainly said it's like an ego show. They wanted to show him what they know, and they didn't really let him answer the questions properly.
Okay, I've got two main takeaways from the entire thing that happened, right? Which I thought was really, which I to me was quite significant. One, the CEO is a Singaporean guy, so yay, and also he's very articulate. It was very interesting because he does something completely different from most other tech CEOs, where he's not basically shitting on other tech companies as much. Like he said a couple of things maybe about Facebook and Cambridge
Oh,
Analytica, but
he
he
just
really
said
didn't go after
industry.
any platforms.
He mainly
Yeah,
just
he
said the
didn't go
industry
after.
does this. Yeah.
Yeah, so he used it as industry standard, but he's even in the lead up to this. Normally, there would be this massive campaign where he goes and shits on other platforms and makes it seem like everyone's screwing up. Don't look at us. He hasn't really attacked particular companies that much, so it's quite interesting. I think he's maybe a little bit too Singaporean in that sense, and he's not used to the fact that America is a bit different. You got to go hard and you got to go strong. So I thought that was interesting. The second part that I thought was really interesting is how little Americans above the age of like 40 seem to understand how anything in the real world works. Like one question was, does TikTok have access to my Wi-Fi? And I could see that he was like the guy was so polite. He's like, if your phone has Wi if your phone is connected to Wi-Fi, like he's like, why the Chinese taking my data? And he's like, okay, so he's like so polite, trying to explain that that's not the case. Because I mean, to be very honest, right? Like one of the most funniest things I saw was the fact that he called the project where they're storing all the data with third party US companies being third party monitors and access being able to access the data. They call that entire Project Texas because it's based in Texas. And then the representative for Texas was like, "Don't name it Texas. We stand for freedom." I'm like, "Oh my god." I was like, "Wow." Dude, yeah, honestly, it's just humor at this point. There's no logic to anything. It's just
Man,
funny.
it I couldn't sleep after watching. I was genuinely very upset at how, like, this is the world now. This is why everyone's saying the fall of America, and obviously Australia's going to follows exactly what America does most of the time. So they kept reiterating how TikTok is stored in America, like all the storage there is going to get verified. There's a lot of transparency laws, more regulations than other companies. That's what the CEO was saying, and it's actually I said ByteDance that is owned by three Americans, like the board member, three
So
board members who are Americans.
out of five board members, three board members are American.
And the ironic thing is, with the other companies like Facebook, they China can just buy that data off them anyway, and big news companies, for example, is it the Wall Street Journal that's owned by a foreign entity, Australia, owned by
Yeah,
Rupert Murdoch, right? It's an Australian company. Anyway,
I think so. I mean, we need to verify that. So let's not
yeah,
just
we
start
need.
spreading like
I'm
false
spreading
information
lies.
out there. Dave.
I'm just spreading misinformation. It's me rambling, but I was genuinely upset by it all, and we'll see what happens if they do ban TikTok. It will be a very, as you can see from the
Mm.
questioning, like the limited information they know about TikTok and the assumptions they made. Clearly, some of them have been paid off or have their own agenda.
I okay. I don't think we can say that for to be sure, but I mean it is seems pretty clear that there's probably some form of collusion going on because a bipartisan kind of hearing doesn't happen in the U.S. often. Like
Hmm.
the guy compared it to Vladimir Putin. He compared TikTok to Russia and Putin. That was a bit weird for me because I'm like, that's a bit different though. It's a little bit different because he said that
Just a little bit.
only one other person in the last like 6 years or something has brought America together, Republicans and Democrats together, and that was Vladimir Putin. You're just like Putin. And I think that I believe so, and I can't verify this,
Yes,
but I
I
believe the
was
camera
watching.
cut back to
Yeah,
the
you're.
cut back to the CEO's face, the TikTok CEO's face, and his face was like, seriously, he was like, man, he's weird, dude. Like I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we can talk about anything else other than that because there's so much to kind of unpack there, right? Like Facebook and Meta kind of like crippling their organic reach. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at our engagement over like the business over drinks channels, my own channels, even some of my clients' channels, it's quite ridiculous.
Yeah. And the pretty and as soon as there was more positive news about the ban on TikTok, by some convenience, Meta just decided to cancel their creator fund for people on Reels. So for anyone who doesn't know, they created a meta a creator fund for to compete with TikTok. I think it was last year. So people on Reels, if they have a certain amount of views and followers, they'll be able to start getting paid. But as soon as the ban on TikTok started to sound more like a reality, Meta just low key just turned it off.
So this is the kind of the concern for me, right? Because that just makes it seem like a Meta knows what's going to happen. Two, I don't know how Republican, sorry, how U.S. Like and U.S. Government hearings work, but is this technically like a trial or like a jury thing? Because all has a decision already been made, and this is just like a public spectacle in order to get some people just like to kind of fill the gaps and to like have a form of kangaroo court where they're saying like, oh, we actually did a proper hearing, but you're banned.
I don't. Yeah, I wouldn't know. It'd be good to if we spoke to an expert on that. But it kind of backfired on them because they just sounded ridiculous. I don't think anyone really had any respect for them after watching that.
I mean, let's be fair. I don't think anyone had respect for them before that as well.
Yeah, true. Like
So, like,
if you watch their hearings with Mark Zuckerberg
it's
and Google and stuff.
yeah. But see, that's the interesting thing, right? The TikTok guy came out, at least to me, sounding like someone who was a lot more sincere, human. I mean, he's obviously done a lot of media training, because he came out, he stuck to his messages while at the same time not just robotically repeating it. He
Mm.
sounded like he really meant it. And I mean, there people would actually be empathetic to a lot of things that he said, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, after watching all these TikToks, I went to the Meta pages, right? So I went to Mark Zuckerberg's page, I went to make Meta's page, and just read the comments. I'd say maybe about 80% of the comments, well, when I watched them, when I read them this morning, were very negative about the companies. Then I went to TikTok's page and I watched their recent videos, and most of the comments were like, "We love TikTok. We love what you do." So the sentiment is really for TikTok at this point in time, based on me just looking at the comments. So it's crazy what Meta is doing then in return. So if they do ban TikTok, Meta just sounds like they're giving us a bunch of homework. For anyone who follows us on social, we just did a rant on it about how Instagram has just increased the things you need to do to gain more exposure compared to TikTok, where you just need to. Some people, if you just have brand new account and you just post something, there's a high chance that you'll get a decent number of views. But on Instagram, it just feels like a monumental task, and they're making it even harder now. So you need to do like a reel a day, 6 stories a day. You need to they highly encourage you to pay for the blue tick, which in Australia is $24.99 a month, and there's a bunch of loopholes you need to go through just so you can get a little bit more engagement.
Yeah, man. I don't think any company is able to maintain the way they are the moment they go public and they start having to deal with shareholders who don't think about the consumer or the people who are using the product. All they think about is profit. And the moment you do that, you kind of lose a little bit of the company. At least from my perspective. I could be wrong,
Mm.
man. I'm a user, right? So I'm not a shareholder in Meta. So maybe if I was a shareholder, I'd be like, ban TikTok. Who knows? I'd probably do that.
Yeah, yeah, I probably would
I'm
as
a
well.
I'm a I'm a yeah I'm not ashamed. I'm a capitalist. I'll do it all day long. But it's kind of crazy though. It's pretty nuts, man. I'm honestly, it just makes me depressed as hell.
I'm gonna look
I
at
can't
let's look
believe
at
this entire episode is dedicated just running about TikTok and Meta and just like all the Facebook and
all
Instagram
right,
stuff.
all right. I'm
Like,
looking at the Facebook share price. All right, all right. So when did they start talking about TikTok potentially closing? Like after the hearing, it went from it's just been going up. It's now 204 USD. Yeah, it's been increasing steadily since news of TikTok getting banned. So you're right about. So I mean, if I own Facebook stock, maybe I'd probably, or if I'm thinking about buying Facebook stock, I would have probably put some money in. Maybe this isn't advice, but this is probably what I do, and the market's reflective of that.
yeah, no, it makes sense, man. You take advantage of what's going on, right?
But imagine though if they banned everything, I think the world could be a happier place.
No, it won't. It won't be a
Yeah,
happy
people
place,
would
man. They'll just be,
people will remain
they'll
who they
find
are.
a way. Yeah, they'll just find a way, man. Next thing you know, it'll just be like, hey, you got email. I hate you. This email just says, I hate you.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. That means a lot for us. It helps us bring in big guests. We have some big guests coming in soon. And we're on platforms. So check us out. Obviously, we also have a newsletter. That's the best way to stay in touch with us.
All
Yeah,
right,
Siri.
everyone. Thanks a lot and have a good one.